You were not born broken. Let me say that again, so it settles deep in your soul, where doubt has been whispering lies for years. You were not born broken. You were not born lacking. You were not born incomplete. You were born whole, complete, with everything you need already planted inside you, like a seed carrying the blueprint of the tree it was destined to become. But somewhere between birth and now, someone convinced you that confidence is something you either have or you don't, that you're either born with it or born without it, that it's a feeling that shows up on good days and disappears on bad ones. And that lie, my friend, has crippled more destinies than failure ever could. Confidence is not a feeling. Confidence is a skill. And like every skill, it can be learned, practiced, sharpened, and mastered. You weren't born knowing how to walk. You fell 1,000 times. You stumbled. You crashed. Your knees bled. But you got back up because something inside you knew you were made for more than crawling. That same truth applies now. You are made for more than the fear that holds you hostage. You are made for more than the doubt that whispers you're not enough. You are made for more than playing small because the world told you to stay in your lane. Listen to me carefully. The manufacturer always knows more about the product than the product knows about itself. A car doesn't tell the engineer what it was built to do. The engineer tells the car, and right now, you've been listening to the wrong voices. You've been taking advice from people who are just as lost as you are. You've been measuring your worth by opinions that change with the weather. You've been building your identity on feelings that shift like sand. And then you wonder why you feel unstable. You wonder why confidence seems so far away. It's because you're trying to find it in places it was never meant to be found. Confidence doesn't come from people liking you. It comes from you knowing who you are, even when they don't. Confidence doesn't come from having no fear. It comes from deciding that your purpose is bigger than your panic. Confidence doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being committed to growth, even when growth is painful. You see, most people are waiting to feel confident before they act. But that's backwards. You act first, then confidence follows. You speak even when your voice shakes. You step even when your legs tremble. You show up even when you feel unqualified. Because confidence is built in the arena, not in the audience. Think about a lion. A lion doesn't roar because it feels powerful. A lion roars to remind itself and everything around it what it was created to be. The roar comes first. The confidence follows. But we've been taught to wait until we feel like a lion before we roar. And that's why so many people die with their music still inside them. They're waiting for permission. They're waiting for validation. They're waiting to feel ready. But nobody feels ready. Nobody feels qualified. Nobody feels like they have it all together. The difference between those who rise and those who remain is simple. Those who rise decided that their assignment was more important than their anxiety. Let me tell you something about feelings. Feelings are real, but they're not always true. You can feel like a failure and still be on the edge of breakthrough. You can feel rejected and still be chosen for something greater. You can feel invisible and still carry a message the world is desperate to hear. Feelings are indicators, not dictators. They're passengers, not pilots. And the moment you let how you feel determine what you do, you've given your power away to the most unstable force in your life. Your emotions will lie to you. They'll tell you you're not ready when you are. They'll tell you it's too late when it's right on time. They'll tell you to quit when you're 3 steps from victory. So stop letting feelings run your life. Start letting purpose lead. Here's the truth nobody wants to tell you. Confidence is uncomfortable. Real confidence requires you to do things before you're ready. It requires you to speak before you have all the answers. It requires you to step into rooms where you're the least experienced person and still believe you belong there, because you do. Not because you've earned it through credentials, not because you've impressed anyone with your resume, but because you were created with intention, and intention always comes with provision. Everything you need to fulfill your purpose is already inside you. But it won't be activated by comfort. It won't be awakened by applause. It'll be unlocked by obedience. By you saying yes when everything in you screams no. You know what kills confidence faster than failure? Comparison. You out here measuring your chapter 3 against someone else's chapter 20 and calling yourself behind. You're judging your beginning against someone else's middle and declaring yourself inadequate. Stop it. You're not running their race. You're running yours. And your race has a different terrain, a different timeline, a different finish line. The only person you need to be better than is the person you were yesterday. That's it. That's the standard. Not social media highlight reels, not the facade people put up to hide their own insecurities. You, yesterday's version of you. Are you growing? Are you learning? Are you becoming? Then you're winning. Even if nobody's watching, even if nobody's clapping, even if the world hasn't caught up to what you're building yet. Confidence is knowing that your value isn't up for debate. It's not determined by who stayed or who left. It's not validated by who chose you or who rejected you. It's settled. It was settled before you took your first breath. You matter because you exist. You have worth because you were made. You have purpose because you're still here. And if you're still breathing, your assignment isn't finished. Stop treating yourself like a rough draft when you were already published. Stop apologizing for taking up space when space was made for you. Stop shrinking so other people feel comfortable. Your growth is not responsible for their insecurity. Let me give you a picture. A seed doesn't look like a tree. It doesn't feel like a tree. If you judge the seed by what you see on the surface, you'd throw it away. It's small, it's hard, it's hidden. But inside that tiny seed is the entire blueprint of a forest. Everything it needs to become mighty is already coded in its DNA. But here's the key. The seed has to be buried. It has to break. It has to surrender the shell it's comfortable in to become what it was designed to be. And that's where most people stop. They feel the breaking and they think something's wrong. They feel the pressure of the soil and they panic. They feel buried and they assume they're finished. But what if you're not buried? What if you're planted? What if this season of obscurity is not punishment but preparation? What if the breaking is not destruction but transformation? Confidence grows in the dark. It grows when nobody's watching. It grows when you choose to show up even though there's no guarantee of success. It grows when you invest in yourself before anyone else believes in you. It grows when you practice discipline when motivation is gone. It grows when you protect your peace instead of proving your point. Confidence is quiet. It doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't need to convince anyone. It just moves. It just builds. It just becomes. And one day, the world wakes up and sees the tree that grew from the seed they buried. You've been waiting for someone to give you permission to be great. Nobody's coming. You've been waiting for the perfect moment to start. It's not coming. You've been waiting to feel confident enough to take the leap. That feeling is a trap. You build confidence by acting in spite of fear, not in the absence of it. Every person you admire, every leader you respect, every pioneer you celebrate felt the same fear you feel. They just didn't let it make the final decision. They honored the fear, acknowledged the risk, and moved anyway because they understood something you're learning right now. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. Safety is the graveyard of destiny. If you're always choosing what feels secure, you'll never discover what you're capable of. The enemy of right is not wrong. It's good. Good is the thing that keeps you comfortable. Good is the thing that convinces you not to risk what you have for what you could become. Good is the thing that makes you settle for less than your potential because less is predictable and predictability feels safe. But you weren't created for safe. You were created for significant. And significance always requires stepping out of what's known into what's possible. Here's what nobody tells you about confidence. It's contagious. When you start showing up for yourself, you give others permission to do the same. When you start believing in your voice, you inspire others to find theirs. When you start walking in purpose, you disrupt everyone around you who's been sleepwalking through life. Your confidence is not just for you. It's for the people watching who need proof that change is possible. It's for the next generation who needs a model of what courage looks like. It's for the world that's waiting for the solution only you can bring. Because there's something inside you that the world needs. There's a problem only you can solve. There's a perspective only you can offer. But it'll never come out if you keep hiding behind excuses. I'm tired of hearing people say they're not confident enough. You're confident enough to scroll for hours. You're confident enough to give opinions on things that don't matter. You're confident enough to judge others. But when it comes to your own dreams, suddenly you're paralyzed. That's not a confidence problem. That's a priority problem. You've made comfort more important than calling. You've made fear bigger than faith. You've made the opinions of strangers louder than the voice of truth. And as long as you do that, you'll stay stuck. Not because you can't move, but because you won't. Let me be clear. I'm not talking about arrogance. Arrogance is insecurity dressed up in pride. Arrogance is loud because it's trying to convince itself. Confidence is quiet because it's already convinced. Arrogance needs to prove. Confidence just proceeds. Arrogance tears others down to feel tall. Confidence lifts others up because it's secure in its own height. Don't confuse the two. The world doesn't need more arrogant people pretending to have it all together. The world needs confident people willing to admit they're still learning and still show up anyway. You want to know the fastest way to build confidence? Keep your promises to yourself. Stop saying you're going to do something and then not doing it. Stop setting goals you don't chase. Stop making declarations you don't back up with action. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you teach yourself that you can't be trusted. And if you can't trust yourself, how can you expect to move confidently? Confidence is built on evidence. Evidence that you follow through. Evidence that you can be counted on. Evidence that when you say something, it happens. Start small. Set a goal you can hit today. Then hit it. Tomorrow, do it again. Watch how your belief in yourself grows. Not because someone validated you, but because you prove to yourself that you're reliable. Stop outsourcing your confidence to other people. Stop waiting for applause to feel worthy. Stop needing approval to take action. The moment you make your confidence dependent on external validation, you've placed your destiny in someone else's hands. And most people don't even know what to do with their own lives, let alone yours. You're asking for directions from people who are lost. You're seeking approval from people who don't approve of themselves. You're waiting for permission from people who never gave themselves permission. Why would you do that? Why would you give that much power to people who are just as confused as you feel? Here's a hard truth. Some people will never celebrate you, not because you're not worth celebrating, but because your success reminds them of their own stagnation. Your courage exposes their excuses. Your growth highlights their comfort. And instead of being inspired, they'll be intimidated. Instead of cheering, they'll criticize. Instead of supporting, they'll sabotage. And you have to be okay with that, because you're not here to make everyone comfortable. You're here to fulfill purpose. And purpose always disrupts the status quo. Confidence says, I'd rather be misunderstood by many than untrue to myself. Confidence says, I'd rather stand alone in truth than blend in with a lie. Confidence says, I don't need everyone to get it as long as I stay committed to it, because the right people will find you. The right opportunities will align. The right doors will open. Not because you forced them, but because you stayed faithful to who you were created to be, even when the world told you to be something else. Let me tell you what changed my life. I stopped asking if I was good enough and started asking if I was available enough. I stopped worrying about being the most talented and started focusing on being the most obedient. I stopped trying to impress people and started trying to serve purpose, and everything shifted. Because confidence isn't about being the best. It's about being faithful. It's about showing up. It's about doing the work when nobody's watching. It's about honoring the gift even when the gift isn't honored. It's about staying consistent when results are inconsistent. It's about believing in the seed when all you see is soil. You've been praying for confidence like it's going to fall from the sky. It's not. You've been waiting for a moment where fear disappears and boldness takes over. That moment doesn't exist. What exists is a choice, a daily, hourly, moment by moment choice to act like the person you were created to be, even when you don't feel like it, to speak like someone with something, to say even when your voice shakes, to move like someone on assignment, even when the path is unclear. That's confidence. Not the absence of doubt, but the decision to move in spite of it. Think about this. You've survived everything life has thrown at you so far. Every heartbreak, every failure, every loss, every disappointment. You're still here. That's not luck. That's resilience. That's strength. That's proof that you're built for this. So why are you acting like you can't handle what's next? You've already handled worse. You've already overcome harder. You've already risen from deeper. The evidence of your capability is written in your history. Stop ignoring it. Stop dismissing it. Stop pretending you're weak when your story proves you're a warrior. Confidence is remembering who you are when the world tries to tell you who you're not. It's standing firm in your identity when circumstances try to shake it. It's knowing that a setback is a setup, that a delay is not a denial, that closed doors are protection from wrong rooms, that rejection is redirection toward the right path. Confidence is trusting the process even when the process is painful. It's believing in the vision even when the vision looks blurry. It's holding on to hope even when hope feels foolish. You know what's interesting? The same people who doubted you in the beginning will try to take credit for you in the end. The same voices that said you couldn't will claim they always knew you could. The same critics who counted you out will try to count themselves in, and you'll have to choose. Will you be bitter or better? Will you hold grudges or hold grace? Will you remind them of their doubt or celebrate your breakthrough? Confidence chooses grace, not because they deserve it, but because you've outgrown the need to prove anything to anyone. Here's what I need you to understand. Your confidence threatens people who profit from your insecurity. There's an entire industry built on convincing you that you're not enough, so you'll buy what they're selling. They need you broken, so you'll keep coming back for fixes. They need you confused, so you'll keep seeking their advice. They need you dependent, so you'll keep paying for solutions. But the moment you realize you already have everything you need, their power's gone. The moment you step into confidence, you disrupt their business model, and they will not like it. But your freedom is not up for negotiation. Stop asking for signs. You are the sign. Stop waiting for miracles. You are the miracle. Stop looking for proof. You are the evidence that greatness is possible. Everything you've been searching for outside of you has been inside of you the whole time. The confidence, the courage, the strength, the wisdom, it's all there. Buried under years of bad advice, toxic relationships, failed attempts, and broken promises, but it's there, waiting, ready, willing. All you have to do is dig it up. All you have to do is believe it. All you have to do is become it. Confidence is a skill, and like any skill, it requires practice. You don't go to the gym once and expect muscles. You don't read one book and expect mastery. You don't take one step and expect to reach the destination. You show up daily, consistently, faithfully. You do the work when you feel like it and when you don't. You push when it's hard. You stretch when it's uncomfortable. You stay when it's easier to quit. And slowly, steadily, surely, you become the person you were always meant to be, not overnight, but over time. Not because it was easy, but because it was worth it. I want you to imagine something. 10 years from now, you are sitting in the life you've always dreamed of. You're walking in purpose. You're making an impact. You're fulfilled. You're free. And you look back at today, at this moment, at this message, and you realize this was the turning point. This was the moment you decided that fear would no longer make your decisions. This was the moment you chose to believe in yourself even when nobody else did. This was the moment you stopped playing small and started playing to win. This was the moment confidence stopped being something you wished for and started being something you worked for. What would that version of you say to the version of you reading this right now? What advice would they give? What encouragement would they offer? What truth would they speak? Listen to that voice. That's not fantasy. That's prophecy. That's the future calling you forward. Answer it. You were not created to blend in. You were created to stand out. You were not designed for average. You were designed for extraordinary. You were not meant to survive. You were meant to thrive. But none of that happens by accident. It happens by intention, by decision, by daily commitment to becoming who you were born to be. Confidence is not a personality trait you're born with or without. It's a skill you develop, a muscle you build, a voice you strengthen. And it starts today, right now, in this moment, with one decision, one step, one act of courage. You don't need permission. You don't need approval. You don't need everyone to understand. You just need to start. Let me tell you something that'll wake you up. Most people live their entire lives in rehearsal. They're always getting ready to get ready. They're always preparing to prepare. They're always waiting for conditions to be perfect before they make their move. And you know what happens? Life passes them by. Opportunities expire. Doors close. Time runs out. And they die with regret, wondering what could have been if they had just believed in themselves enough to try. Don't be that person. Don't let fear of failure keep you from the possibility of success. Don't let the opinion of critics silence the voice of your calling. Don't let temporary discomfort rob you of permanent destiny. Confidence is built in moments when you have every reason to quit and you keep going anyway. It's built when you are tired, but you finish. When you're discouraged, but you persist. When you're rejected, but you reapply. When you fail, but you try again. Every time you choose courage over comfort, you add another brick to the foundation of your confidence. Every time you face fear and move forward anyway, you strengthen the muscle of belief. Every time you keep a commitment to yourself, you deepen your trust in your own ability. This is how confidence is constructed, not in grand moments, but in daily decisions, not in dramatic victories, but in quiet consistency. You need to understand that confidence doesn't mean you won't be afraid. It means you'll be afraid and do it anyway. Confidence doesn't mean you won't doubt yourself. It means you'll doubt yourself and trust the process anyway. Confidence doesn't mean everything will work out perfectly. It means you'll adapt when it doesn't and keep moving forward anyway. This is the maturity that most people never reach. They think confidence is the absence of negative feelings. No, confidence is the ability to act in spite of negative feelings. It's emotional intelligence. It's mental toughness. It's spiritual fortitude. And it's available to you right now if you're willing to practice it. Here's something powerful. Your confidence level directly affects your impact level. If you don't believe in yourself, why should anyone else believe in you? If you don't trust your voice, why should anyone listen to your message? If you don't value your contribution, why should anyone invest in your vision? Your lack of confidence doesn't just hurt you, it hurts everyone who needs what you have to offer. It robs the world of your gift. It deprives people of your solution. It keeps breakthrough locked inside you when someone out there is dying for the answer you carry. So when you shrink back, when you play small, when you let fear win, you're not just being humble, you're being selfish. Because what's inside you is not just for you, it's for the world. Now let me address something that's probably running through your mind right now. You're thinking about your past, about your mistakes, about your failures, about all the times you tried and didn't succeed, about all the ways you've messed up, and you wondering how someone with your history can possibly walk in confidence. Let me tell you something. Your past does not define your future unless you let it. Your mistakes are not your identity unless you make them. Your failures are not your destiny unless you accept them as such. Every great person you admire has a past. Every success story you celebrate includes failure. Every breakthrough you witness was born from setbacks. The difference is they didn't stay there. They learned. They grew. They evolved. They used their pain as a platform. They turn their mess into their message. They transform their test into their testimony, and so can you. Confidence is not denying your past. It's using your past as proof that you can overcome. It's looking at everything you've been through and saying, if I survive that, I can handle this. It's taking inventory of your scars and recognizing each one represents a battle you won. You're still standing. You're still breathing. You're still here. That means you're stronger than whatever tried to break you. That means you're more resilient than whatever tried to destroy you. That means you're more powerful than whatever tried to stop you. So stop using your past as an excuse. Start using it as evidence. Evidence that you're a survivor. Evidence that you're an overcomer. Evidence that you're unstoppable. Let me paint another picture for you. Imagine a diamond. Before it becomes valuable, it's just coal, just carbon. Buried deep in the earth, under intense pressure, under extreme heat, for years, for decades, sometimes for centuries. And that pressure, that heat, that time doesn't destroy it. It transforms it. It turns ordinary carbon into extraordinary value. That's what's happening to you right now. The pressure you're feeling isn't breaking you. It's making you. The heat you're experiencing isn't destroying you. It's refining you. The time you're spending in obscurity isn't wasting you. It's preparing you, because what you're becoming is worth more than what you were. Where you're going is greater than where you've been. Who you're meant to be is more powerful than who you think you are. Confidence understands this process. Confidence trusts the transformation even when it's painful. Confidence knows that nothing worth having comes easy, that anything significant requires sacrifice, that every level demands a new version of you. So when life gets hard, confident people don't complain. They don't quit. They don't give up. They lean in. They press forward. They embrace the process because they know that on the other side of this pressure is a promotion. On the other side of this pain is a platform. On the other side of this trial is a triumph. And they're willing to endure temporary discomfort for permanent breakthrough. Now, here's where most people mess up. They want the results of confidence without the work of building it. They want to feel bold without practicing courage. They want to appear strong without developing strength. They want the recognition without the reputation. They want the platform without the preparation. And it doesn't work that way. You can't fake confidence. You can fake arrogance. You can fake bravado. You can fake cockiness. But you can't fake true confidence. Because true confidence is rooted in competence, in character, in consistency, in integrity, and those things can't be manufactured. They have to be cultivated day by day, choice by choice, commitment by commitment. So if you want to build real confidence, you have to do real work. You have to invest in yourself when nobody else will. You have to believe in your vision when nobody else does. You have to show up when it's inconvenient. You have to practice when it's uncomfortable. You have to learn when you'd rather rest. You have to grow when you'd rather stay the same. Because confidence is not a gift that's given. It's a skill that's earned. And the price of that skill is paid in discipline, dedication, and determination. Let me tell you about the power of small wins. You don't build confidence by achieving massive goals overnight. You build it by hitting small targets consistently, by making your bed every morning, by keeping your word, by finishing what you start, by showing up on time, by doing what you said you'd do. These small acts of discipline compound over time. They create a track record of reliability. They establish a pattern of follow-through, and that pattern becomes your proof. When you can look back and see a history of promises kept, goals achieved, commitments honored, you start to believe in yourself, not because someone told you to, but because you have evidence, real evidence, personal evidence, that you're capable, that you're dependable, that you're trustworthy, and that evidence builds unshakable confidence. Here's another truth that'll set you free. Confidence doesn't require perfection. It requires progression. You don't have to be perfect to be confident. You just have to be committed to getting better. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to be willing to figure them out. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You just have to be the most willing to learn. Because confidence isn't about being flawless. It's about being faithful to the process of improvement. It's about being honest about where you are while being hopeful about where you're going. It's about acknowledging your weaknesses while developing your strengths. It's about being real enough to admit you don't know everything while being bold enough to pursue knowledge anyway. This is what separates confident people from insecure people. Insecure people pretend to know what they don't. They hide their ignorance. They fake their expertise. They're terrified of being exposed. But confident people, they're comfortable with not knowing. They ask questions. They seek help. They admit when they're wrong. They learn from anyone willing to teach them, because they understand that real strength is not in having all the answers. It's in having the humility to seek them. Real power is not in never falling. It's in always getting back up. Real confidence is not in being perfect. It's in being persistent. You need to hear this. The world doesn't need your perfection. The world needs your participation. The world doesn't need you to be flawless. The world needs you to be faithful. The world doesn't need you to have it all together. The world needs you to show up in what you have right now and trust that it's enough. Because it is. You are enough. Not because you've achieved everything, but because you're willing to try. Not because you know everything, but because you're willing to learn. Not because you're fearless, but because you're willing to act in spite of fear. So stop waiting. Stop hesitating. Stop doubting. The time is now. The moment is here. Your opportunity is present, and confidence is calling you to step into it, not when you're ready, but right now. Not when you feel like it, but in this moment. Not when circumstances are perfect, but where you are with what you have as you are. Because confidence is not about being ready, it's about being willing. And if you're willing, you're ready enough. The world is waiting for you. Not the perfect version of you, not the healed version of you, not the version of you that has it all figured out. The world is waiting for the real you, the messy, growing, learning, stumbling, rising you, because your story is someone's survival guide. Your scars are someone's roadmap. Your testimony is someone's breakthrough, but they'll never hear it if you stay silent. They'll never see it if you stay hidden. They'll never believe it if you stay small. So rise, speak, show up, not because you feel ready, but because you were born for this. And confidence is not found in feeling. It's forged in action. It's built in obedience. It's proven in perseverance. And it's waiting for you to claim it. So claim it, own it, walk in it. And watch how your life transforms when you finally understand that confidence was never something you needed to find. It was always something you needed to become. And today, right now, in this very moment, you begin that becoming. You start that journey. You take that first step. Not perfectly, but powerfully. Not flawlessly, but faithfully. And that, my friend, is where everything changes.